About the Green Berets. Now, I knew there were Green Berets down there because they did part of their training down there. And every morning and every afternoon, when we'd be standing in formation at our company before we'd march to class, there was an elevated road right next to our barracks. And two classes of Green Beret medics would come marching by with their Green Berets on. And I just get the chills. So this staff sergeant gives the orientation. He said, anyone who's interested, go to the back of the room. So like 50 guys go back there, and it's just more than our company. It's a lot of different classes. So I go back there, and the first thing he says, anyone who's not in for 3 years and is not willing to enlist for another year, you may leave. Because you can't go through 2 years, and you're never going to go to war, number one, and you're not going to finish the training because all the training is close to a year long. So he said, if you have any misdemeanors or crimes, felonies or anything like that, more than traffic tickets, you may also leave. And I can't remember if he asked any more questions, but the number starts dwindling. So one day, I go in, he calls 8 of us in to take what's called the Special Forces Battery Test. And we're in a small office building. There was no air conditioning in there, but they had a big floor fan. They allowed us to take off our fatigue jackets and just sit there with our t-shirts on. We have a test booklet. And not only did we have the test booklet and the answer sheet, but there was a tape recorder going. And basically on the tape recorder was the instructions of how explaining the situations and how much time you had to do them. And there were questions on there like, number one, there was like observation. And it's like, okay, there's a picture of this room. And then it shows this item over here, and it said from what position was that taken. So was it taken from there? Was it taken from there? So observation. They ask questions about tactical things, or even like a common everyday occurrence, like a car breaks down or one thing or another. And they say, here's 17 different options. List them in order of the best to the worst. Now the thing is, the tape recorder is going, and you very quickly realize that he's going to be going to the next question, so while he's doing that, you better be reading the answers because you're not going to have enough time to go through all of the options and rank them. Mm-hmm. They had personality tests in there, psychology. I love those because I don't know how they work, but I'll tell you what they had. Would you rather be a spy or an English teacher? Well, I try to balance it out because actually I'd rather be an English teacher than a spy. Although James Bond was pretty cool. Sean Connery. So anyway, there were 8 of us taking the test, and when we walked outside while he was grading the papers, we were all standing there, and several of these guys I'd gone through the leadership prep course with, and one of them was actually we had a squad room, the 2 of us, leading the platoon, so we didn't have to sleep out in the general barracks. And so he immediately, we went back in, and he was going to read off the test scores, and he immediately dismissed half of the guys, 4 of them, said you didn't pass. So he started reading off the scores, and mine was the last one. And he said, MacIver, he said, I've been giving this test down here for 6 months. He said, I've seen thousands of test scores back at Fort Bragg. He said, you've just made the highest grade ever scored on the Special Forces Battery Test. Now, so I was now qualified for Special Forces. I had to go through a physical test to qualify for airborne because you had to be airborne, a paratrooper, in order to be a Green Beret. So that was going to be my next training after the medic training.